Brennan Davis has taken Mariners camp by storm, but he really only has one narrow path to making the opening day roster. We'll tell you what that is as we answer some of your questions here on Mailbag Monday. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Monday, March 9th, 2026. You're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. My name is Titan Gonzalez, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Colby Patnode. We're two lifelong Mariners fans who've been covering the team for over half a decade, and today we'll be opening up the mailbag like we do here every single Monday and answer some of your Mariners questions. But before we do, I want to shout out our title sponsor today, MLB The Show 26. Visit MLBTHE.show/locked on and use the promo code locked on. That's LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. All right, well, like a billion of you wanted to know about this, but we picked Julio as King's version of this question. How probable is it that Brennan Davis makes the roster on opening day? Probable? Not at all. Not probable at all. If we're using NFL terms, I doubtful at best.
At the very best.
Yeah. Look, I think the only way that this works is dependent on what's going on with Victor Robles. He suffered a shoulder injury last week, diving for a ball. He's only DHing right now. If he can still only DH by the time opening day rolls around, I'd consider ILing Victor, because Victor is just a DH only, even if it's just for a little while, even if it's just for like the first week of the season or whatever. That's not super helpful to me. So IL him, let him get right. Maybe that would be the best path there for the Mariners and for Victor. And then at that point, that would seemingly open the door for Brennan Davis, right, as a right-handed hitting corner outfielder. Possibly. That's the only way that I see. That's the only way I see this working, though.
Like, to put it in the NFL probable terms, which is a weird way to word this, by the way. Julio is king. Like, how probable is it? It's not. It's out. Like, he's not making the opening day roster, nor should he, by the way. But yeah, if there is some kind of 1 in a million shot, it's that Victor has to go on the IL. And even then, the Mariners don't have to put Davis on this roster. They could just let Canzone face lefties. He was pretty good against them last year. And then Refsnyder becomes Raley's partner until Robles is ready to go. And that still works. Like that still fits on the roster. And then you can use that roster spot on somebody who is a little more dynamic in a pure, bench role. And since Victor Robles' big value that he was bringing to this team, aside from being a right-handed hitter, which doesn't inherently have value, but whatever, is base running and defense. Well, Rhylan Thomas is a better base runner and a better defender, and he's actually had a nice spring too. So like they might not even give Davis the fourth outfield spot or whatever, fifth outfield spot in that point. Yeah. By the way, Rhylan Thomas can at least fake it in center field. Davis can't. So it's just one of those things where it's like, even if you get that dream scenario where, Robles, and dream scenario includes somebody getting hurt and missing time. But even if you get that scenario where Robles, misses time and you have to put him on the IL and he's not ready for opening day, there's still no guarantee that they just give that job to Davis. They might give it to Rhylan Thomas. They might make a small trade outside the org. They might carry another infielder for all we know, because they,
maybe they keep Mastrobuoni, who's out of options.
Yeah, that's also
for just a little longer.
The outfield. So yeah, I don't think that it's a slam dunk, even if the one scenario where it makes a little bit of sense for him to make the opening day roster, even if that comes to fruition, there's still a couple other players who might be ahead of him on the depth chart. So it's not probable at all. It's not likely at all. It's not even a 10% chance that it happens. There's like a 1% chance at most. And that's only if the door is cracked open at all by Victor Robles possibly going on the IL.
Yeah.
before opening day.
It's just he's not going to make it over Luke Raley. He's not going to make it over Dom Canzone.
Nope.
It really is just Robles. What's going on with him? That's the only way that this potentially works. And like you said, even at that point, they might go with Rhylan Thomas, who can play some center field, because that's obviously a big part of what Robles brings to the table, is that he's probably your backup center fielder if Julio needs a blow, or God forbid Julio gets hurt. So yeah, maybe it's Thomas. Maybe they don't want to move on from Mastrobuoni just yet, so they put him on the roster instead. I don't want to overreact to what's happening in spring. It's very impressive what Brennan Davis is doing. The insane exit velocities that he's posting, and obviously there's the former top prospect pedigree and all that. Maybe this is a guy that's finally figured it out. Let's see if that continues in Tacoma, which he has a very good chance of continuing in Tacoma because it's the PCL, right? It's Cheney Stadium.
Let's see if he can play 6-7 weeks in a row without blowing out his knee or whatever,
Right. That's also been staying on the field has been a big issue for him. So yeah, look, he has the potential to provide you legitimate, really good depth, down in the minors, or to, at least be part of, building some legitimate depth for you down in Tacoma. I don't see really the point in rushing that and overreacting to what's happening in spring, especially when there just really isn't a path to getting him on the roster. Because the other thing too is is it really in his best interest to bring him up for the first couple weeks of the season until Victor is ready to roll, and maybe play him twice over that time?
Yeah, probably not.
Because they're not. Victor is going, if Victor goes on the IL and Davis is the guy that gets that spot to start the year, they're not going to DFA Victor. They will send Davis back down to Tacoma once Victor's ready to roll. So at that point, is that really the best use of Davis's time? Especially when he's, especially if he's continuing to stay hot at the plate to kind of interrupt that momentum. I don't think so.
I know he's 26 years old, but dude hasn't played a lot for being 26 years old because of all the injuries. He still needs reps. There's still development left to do there. So yeah, Davis has been a fun, spring training storyline. Sure. But yeah, it's one of those things where cool storyline. Obviously he's got some skill set. We knew he did. He was a top prospect. He looks healthy. He's absolutely destroying the baseball. But that doesn't mean you have to put him on the opening day roster.
All right, we'll answer more of your questions in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is once again brought to you by MLB The Show 26, as well as Indeed. Today, I'm thrilled to be talking about our sponsor, MLB The Show 26. The greatest game in baseball is back with its newest installment. And let me tell you, baseball fans are going to have a hard time pulling themselves away from this game. Me personally, I can't wait to fire up franchise mode and take the Mariners all the way this year. I'm going to get Julio that MVP. I'm going to get revenge on the Blue Jays. It is going to be great. Heck, maybe I'll even use some of your trade ideas from Fan Fiction Friday along the way. But listen, if you're a gamer, a baseball fan, or just want to enjoy America's favorite pastime in a new, exciting way, you are going to love MLB The Show 26. Play as your favorite team and franchise players and see if you have what it takes to win your own World Series. Visit MLBtheshow.com/locked-on and use the promo code LOCKEDON, that's LOCKEDON, to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Internet connection required. Pre-order now. Available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. Workplace chaos. Deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed, Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data, worldwide. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcasts. Just go to Indeed.com/podcasts right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcasts. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen for all things Mariners. And also thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Baseball is back, and you can lock in by joining the Everydayer Club, which gets you ad-free episodes and access to our group chat on Discord. Go to lockedonmariners.supercast.com or tap the link in the description to learn more. And also be sure to tune in to the Locked On MLB Top 100 show tomorrow morning. Got 6 Mariners on that list. I wonder where they're going to land. I might have some thoughts on that later on. Maybe you'll see me appear on that Top 100 episode. Who knows? Ooh. All right, Mason wants to know, what do you guys take away from Colt Emerson's spring so far? Is it still too early to tell? He looks like a guy that's not knocking the door down. That's pretty much it. He looks like a guy that could, use some more time down in Tacoma, and then we'll reassess in May. See where he's at.
Yeah, he's not having a spring that is making the decision for the Mariners all that difficult, which, is kind of what you wanted to have happen. He's not having a bad spring, like statistically, maybe not the best spring, but he looks fine at the plate. He's having some pretty good at bats. He looks good in the field, but he's not, blowing anybody away. He's been fine. He's been competitive and not really facing super high quality major league pitching, since most of that's away at the WBC at the moment. And he's still not really producing big numbers. So to me, this looks like a guy very clearly at 20 years old, not quite ready for the big leagues. Is that the end of the world? No, absolutely not. But yeah, there's no reason to be concerned. He's 20. There's no reason to think he can't help you at the major league level this year. It's spring training. He's gotten like 20 plate appearances. No. I mean, what have I seen from him? A guy who looks like he's going to be a very good major leaguer, but he's not there yet.
Yeah. And that might change in a couple months' time.
Sure.
It's just right now. Again, we said this leading up to spring training. He kind of, especially after the Brennan Donovan trade, kind of would have to, do what Julio did a few years ago and just absolutely knock the door down and leave the Mariners with essentially no other choice but to put him on the roster.
Right. I mean, the Mariners right now, they don't even have to do the whole, we're sending him down to work on his defense thing. No, it just, look, he's not one of our 13 best position players right now.
Yeah.
We think he will be by the end of this year, but he's not right now. So he's going down. Yeah.
We've seen glimpses of it. Right. Mm-hmm. But then there's also been some bad swings, a couple of bad strikeouts here and there. It's the expected ups and downs of a 20-year-old, facing high level competition.
Right. I mean, the kid really did get rushed to AAA last year at the end of the year. So the fact that he probably is going to need, at least 100, 150 more plate appearances at AAA is not that surprising, nor is it concerning or anything like that. And it's not actually an indictment on the Mariners for being cheap and trying to club control. I'm like, no, you're trying to win the World Series right now. And this guy, he's not better than Leo Rivas right now. He's not better than Cole Young right now. Yeah.
Cole Young's earned the first crack at it. If these two guys are vying for essentially one spot on the roster, and, Cole Young, who hasn't been fantastic this spring, but he's definitely had a better spring than Colt so far, just in terms of what they've done in games. Then Cole's earned the first crack at it. So, and that doesn't really say much about how the rest of the year is going to go for Colt, other than, he's probably going to have to start the year in AAA, and we'll have to reassess here in a few weeks' time. Lifetime income for you wants to know, as extensions are considered, should the Mariners be worried the most likely give back from owners during the lockout will be free agency after 5 years. Very possible Logan and Logan Gilbert, that is, and Brennan Donovan could be free agents sooner rather than later. I have a very, 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 very hard time imagining that the owners would sign off on guys that have 2 years left of club control right now, having them just automatically become free agents coming out of the new CBA. That's not going to happen. I think what we would probably see is that gets applied to guys that are pre-arb, but anyone that's already made money in arbitration, anyone that's arb eligible, their club control remains the same. There's just no shot in hell that the owners would ever sign off on guys becoming free agents a year earlier, right away.
Right. Not to mention with the lockout, this deal gets done, let's say in March, free agency resumes in March. All of a sudden there's an influx of, ARB guys who are ARB 3 or ARB 4. Now they're just free agents. And now we got to play real baseball games in 4 weeks. Like, that's just not going to happen. It's too messy. So, unfortunately, the guys like Logan and Donovan, they kind of get short shrifted here because they end up being like grandfathered into the old system. But that's the reality of what you have to do. And it sucks. It's not necessarily fair that they have to fulfill their 6-year obligation while, a guy like Cole Young gets a year closer to free agency right off the bat. But that's just kind of the reality of the system. There are some tough realities that players are going to have to accept with a CBA, just like there are tough realities that the owners are going to have to accept with a new CBA. And one of them is that we can't have a big influx of guys that teams were already banking on and counting on being, on their team for one more year. We can't have them all of a sudden be free agents 3 weeks before we're trying to start a regular season. Like, that's just not going to happen. And also, by the way, to the point of whoever asked this question, sign now. Well, if you're a player and you think you're going to get a magic year of free agency handed to you, why would you sign right now?
Right.
No, if I'm going to be a free agent next March, I'm not going to sign right. Why would I? Yeah. So it's not going to happen. I mean, I don't know how far back they'll push this clause, but my guess is they're going to have to wait a couple of years to implement it, just because I guess I do think it's, if you're pre-arb now, you only have to go 5 years. If you're into arbitration now, unfortunately, you have to do 6 years because that's just the way it is. And so, if they do give back a year, I don't think it's going to impact the guys who would be free agents after 2026. It will impact guys who would be free agents after 2027, 2028.
Yeah. Like, maybe at worst it would be ARB1 guys. Yeah. That suddenly
that's probably the compromise. Yeah.
That suddenly get the extra year off. Or, get the years down from 6 to 5. But other than that, no, like, if you're approaching free agency, that's not going to happen. So yeah, barring trade, Logan Gilbert and Brendan Donovan, they're going to be Seattle Mariners in 2027. All right, we will wrap up Mailbag Monday in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Ethos and Gametime.
This is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds. And I've reached the point in my life where my wife and I are looking toward the future. We've got the house, we've got the career, we even have an awesome dog, but now we need to secure that future. That's where Ethos comes in for us. When I look at this insurance or that insurance and I try to pick one, I might as well be reading an entirely different language. Ethos clears up the noise and gets me set up with exactly what I need, because Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, and it's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/lockedonmlb. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get a free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb, ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times and rates may vary.
MLB opening day is almost here, and you can feel it. I'm talking fresh starts, big expectations, that first crack of the bat. Oh, we are so back. Whether it's a breakout rookie or a division race that goes down to the wire, there's nothing like being in the ballpark for it. The only problem, getting tickets can feel like a grind. Long queues, surprise fees, prices jumping at checkout. You know how it goes. That's where Gametime comes in. The Gametime app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps, and it's simple to use. The Gametime guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. So what you see is what you pay, period. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, we have a Patreon. It's called Control the Zone. Down there we talk Mariners, Seahawks, all that good stuff. For more information, go to patreon.com/Control the Zone. Link in the description of this episode. Corby wants to know, do you see the Mariners moving on from JP before the... No. Nope. Can we stop doing this, please? Anyway, would there ever be a possibility they extend him as a bench player behind Colt and Cole? No, because look, if JP hit free agency right this second, JP's making 15 to 20 million a year. The Mariners are not paying that to a bench player. They might pay it to him to start. They're probably not going to, but as a bench player, absolutely not. Like JP would have to have a really bad year to sign a contract that the Mariners would feel comfortable signing for a bench player. And I mean, how many times have the Mariners handed out significant money to a bench player? I mean, Rob Refsnyder, it was like $7 million. Do you envision a world where JP Crawford is signing a 1 year, $6.5 million contract, Colby?
No.
Yeah. So no. So
I feel like in about 2 weeks, we were doing a flag player episode. 2 weeks and a couple days, we'll do our flag player episode. We do it every year. I feel like the list is being made for me by all these ridiculous people out here being like, JP Crawford actually sucks, really, and Randy Arozarena actually sucks.
So how do we move on from JP? When are we going to move on from JP? Are they going to move on from JP? Like,
and it extends to Randy and Luis Castillo, and honestly, it kind of starting to bug me how many people are trying to write off Carlos Vargas from this roster. Like, I get Vargas isn't great, but like, how is he going to make the team? Like, who's better? Name 3 people in that pile who are better than Carlos Vargas. What are we doing? Why do you guys hate good players? I don't get it. You want to replace good players? With, they might be good players.
Colby just called Carlos Vargas a good player.
No, I'm more saying that everybody else in that pile sucks. Let's just be honest. Sure.
And
they already have to pick 2 guys from that pile to make this team.
No, just look, Corby, this is less about your question specifically and more just about the influx of comments and questions we have gotten for the last month or so about how Randy sucks. Actually, how are they going to move off from JP because of the shiny new toy that Colt Emerson is and all this? And it's like, I'm tired of it. JP Crawford's a really good baseball player.
We have to get rid of JP to make room for Colt Emerson. We have to get rid of Luis Castillo so Kade Anderson can make the opening day roster. We have to get rid of Randy Arozarena because Brennan Davis work themselves out. Training home runs. Like,
listen, these things work themselves out. It's baseball. They work themselves out.
Idea that
if they don't, and oh no, we have too many good players and too many good options, like
that's not a thing. That's not even a thing.
Yeah. What are we doing? What are we talking about? Sorry. All right.
The number of years people complained about the Mariners not getting good players so they could play young players and play their prospects and all that. Now they have a good team. They're World Series contenders. They're loaded with good players up and down the roster. And now the fans are like, well, who cares about these good players? I want to see the prospects. What are we doing?
I know, right? I know. It's like, hey, I'm really excited about Michael Arroyo too. Do I want him on this roster over Randy Arozarena? Absolutely the hell not. There will come a time for Michael Arroyo. There will come a time for Kade Anderson. There will come a time for Ryan Sloan. There will come a time 5 years down the road where you're like, so how do we move on from Ryan Sloan for this guy? Because that's how this stuff goes.
Oh, the time for those guys, all those prospects, might all be this year. Like, we're not saying it's not going to be this year at some point, but it's not on
It'll
March 9th. It's not on March 26th.
Patience, young Padawan. Patience. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Once again, if you never miss an episode, it's time to make it official. Join the Locked On Everydayer Club and get ad-free audio, access to our members-only Discord, and more, all built for our most loyal fans. For Colby, Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.